Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Performance Link in what we're going to call the pit stop. So, what this is all about is just having a look back at the previous round. Obviously, this one will be the first round, and we'll just be having a discussion. We'll also be getting in a driver to just find out a little bit more about the people that are in our league, how they got into iRacing, bits and pieces like that. And then after that, we'll probably go into what a lot of people are looking forward to is reviewing the incidents from the first round at Watkins Glen. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-commentator here, David Whitehouse, alongside me in the box for the races and is alongside me tonight. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Andy. It's an interesting way of doing the appeals process. Everybody is very clear on what's been allowed and disallowed, and actually, it could help in future races as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's all about. It's just about inclusion, making sure that everyone's aware. People can see the incidents online. We'll obviously be doing the penalty levels if it deems a penalty and sort of discussing our decision as to why. There's two of us, me and Dave, that are going to be looking at the incidents to decide the course of action to be said. But it's also good for the rest of the drivers to have a look at other people's driving styles, things that you probably shouldn't do around a track. But that's the negative, and that's sort of towards the end of the little pit stop we've got here tonight. But Watkins Glen first round, Dave, I thought it went really well. I mean, that track is notoriously hard and bad for major incidents. We did have a few incidents out on track, but obviously this league tried to do something different. That it worked well on the stream, but I think a lot of the drivers really didn't like it. But we have changed that for race 2 that I'll let you know. But it was a good race overall, Dave, I thought. What about yourself?
Yeah, for me, I didn't expect obviously we had a lot of positives for the series. A couple of people saying this or that could have changed, which you always get from new series. And personally, I agree with some of them, but personally don't agree with others. That's just how it goes. But it's down to obviously yourself and Tom and the admins to decide what to sort of cherry pick what's best for the series. And I think they've come up with a good solution for the next round. Obviously, the first round, a lot of people weren't happy about people in different classes fighting each other. But I sort of think on the top of my head, you've got open races in iRacing that you all go and do, and you're fighting people of different strengths, different weaknesses, etc. So it kind of a bit like an open race it was in the first round in terms of you had to get used to who was around you.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, it was the first race. We got 12 rounds in this season. First round had 55 cars on the grid. And it's always going to be a daunting experience. We've got range in I rating from around about 7K down to around about 800 K, or not even K, 800 I rating. So, the experience in the field is quite vast. We do have obviously 4 classes. I don't believe any other league has 4 classes. So we got a pro-am, an am, and a rookie class. And they're all split down to iRacing or racing ability. And each one of them championships has an option to win prizes. And, if we also have a team prize as well overall, which will be good. Because it's an even playing field across pros and AMs. So the point scoring system that we have as well is unique to this series in that it's not for overall position, it's where you finish in class. So it promotes better driving, that you don't have to fight everybody out on track. You're very much fighting against yourself and also the rest of the cars within the field. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting season. We got another 11 rounds to go. If you obviously haven't caught the first round, then please head over to Performance Link to watch it. 2 30-minute races that I thought were cracking. Anyway, Dave.
Yeah, I thought they were great races. We had a couple of incidents which, may come up in this in the incident part of the program later on, but I don't think there were anything you wouldn't get in any other series where you decide to stick 50 odd cars around a circuit of differing abilities. So I've seen accidents of exactly the same nature in a top split where they're all exactly kind of equal in skills. So it wasn't anything where you went, oh well, that was because they were a rookie or anything like that. I think generally the theme wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't. And obviously, moving on, then let's get one of our drivers in. We've got Håkon Jørgensen there standing by to come and join us. Let's pull him into the screen. Let's put him front and center here. No, you don't want my ugly mug there, so let's have Håkon in. Håkon, welcome to the stream. Obviously, one of our drivers in the series. Just start us off by telling a little bit about yourself, and yeah, we'll start it off from there.
Okay, thank you for having me on. It's a huge honor to be invited to take part in this. Yeah, so my name is Håkon. I'm Icelandic. I'm 20 years old, and I've been driving iRacings for 2 years now. I started in the COVID lockdown, in mostly driving the Formula 3 car in local championships. So yeah, it's been sort of that's where I started in iRacing.
So basically, one of the COVID Charles. I think I'm one of them as well. I very much started iRacing for something to do while we were locked down. It certainly gave a big boost to the iRate. But tell us a little bit about your experience in iRacing. Then, what car did you start off with? And you did mention there your single seaters. When did you move into the sort of the GT3 realm for this league? And what's your experience and obviously your experience of the first round?
Yeah. So yeah, I started when I first got iRacing. It was for it was a summer tournament that some guys were hosting, and so I got iRacing on my little school laptop Potato. I think the highest FPS I ever saw was 16 FPS, so not very good at all, with a little T300 strapped to my desk. And from there I started practicing and driving, just pouring in hours, and got better and better, and eventually worked my way up to close to 3,000 iRating. And I've gotten to race in some Nordic international races against people like Nicky Team Endurance Racer and the Hansen brothers from Rallycross. I even raced against Heikki Kovalainen once, so it's been an exciting 2 years. And then last year we got to race in a Nordic Formula 3 series hosted by I don't remember the league, but there are a few drivers from there in this league as well. So yeah, Tom Bingham, your friend, he contacted us Icelandic people from GT Academian. He contacted us and invited us to take part in your Performance Link GT3 series, which was, to be honest, my first. Not really though, but I think the most exciting GT3 venture in iRacing yet, away from official Nordschleife series and some one-off events we've held. And it was very exciting to be a part of such a big grid. 60 cars. It was it was nerve-wracking to say the least. It was very exciting.
Definitely was. I mean, obviously, to get up to 3K iRating is an achievement in itself. I think I've been on for 2 years, and the highest iRating I've ever got was 1600, and that was a mega achievement for free. So to get up to 3000 it is pretty special. Obviously, you're in with the class, and you've joined. And you've had the experience now of round one. I just want to know: have you ever been in a race with a grid that big of 55 cars? And how was the whole experience of, say, maybe that league towards another league that you've raced in?
I think I can remember 3 races. It was we did a race of Vikings that was I think 60 cars when we raced the BMW M8 GTE on Kora. That was sort of my first big international event. There I raced against some big names, and then I raced the 24 Hours of Nürburgring official race. So that was, I think, those have been the biggest grids yet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, having a grid that size put you in good stead then for having a grid of 55 cars on last Sunday for Watkins Glen. What's your experience with Watkins Glen? Do you like that track? Did you find it quite easy, or is it one you don't really venture to?
I used to like it more, I'll say, but when I got to race against faster drivers, there are techniques that they do better on a technical track like Watkins Glen. So when I was racing against slower drivers, maybe it was more fun and I enjoyed it more. But when I'm in the slower half, it's not so fun.
It is, but at least probably in this grid you have got somebody to fight to, because there's always somebody around your iRacing. Obviously, it's a 12-round season we've got coming up with different formats. Which rounds are you looking forward to, and what format is probably going to be your strength?
I think I'm looking most forward to the Nordschleife event. Definitely, that's the track I've driven a lot, and yeah, we drive it. We try to take part in the official 24-hour event every year. We've done it for the last 2 years, and we plan to take part in it again next year. So yeah, definitely looking forward to most. But yeah, I've I came into this round last Sunday with absolutely zero practice. I just jumped into the practice session with an hour to go and went from there. I've been busy practicing for the FIA Motorsport Games in ACC.
Oh yeah.
So it was an adventure jumping in with zero practice, and they were quite uneventful races for me. I had some unfortunate incidents, so the races for me were short, but they were a lot of fun. Those laps I did have, they were around, I think, 5 or 6 in both races.
Definitely. Dave, have you got any questions for Halcon?
Well, I was going to say, behind we've got a plethora of Le Mans pictures, but also we have a Stilo race helmet. Is that for real life karting racing, or is it just there, but there for design purposes?
I was supposed to use it for karting. I bought a go-kart and I was gonna go race, but then there isn't much of a community around go-karting anymore here in Iceland. So for now, it's just decoration purposes. But
Yeah.
I plan on using it more for racing little front-wheel drive 1000cc cars.
And is there a point where you're thinking you'll go start that, or is it budget that's restricting you?
It's mostly time. I'm working and in school full time and trying to be a sim racing athlete as well. So
Yeah.
that takes up most of my time.
And have you ever took it? I mean, obviously we see people like Jarno Opmeer and these brand names who go off and do the F1 esports and things like that. Have you ever sort of got close to that yet, or whether is that an aim for you as an esports athlete, shall we say?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be representing Iceland in the FIA World Motorsport Games in Polar Kart later in October, which is really exciting. And I hope that will be a big opportunity for me to branch out and maybe get to drive something, maybe IRL, maybe some more some series, whether it's in ACC or iRacing. It really just I'm open to everything, and I hope that can be a gateway to that all.
And out of the pictures behind, which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite car, shall we say?
This one, the GT500 one,
The Super
absolutely
G.
beautiful sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to
The
say we've got
LMP1's
quite.
nice though.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a big selection there. And
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
is that the Audi R18,
M8,
isn't it? Yeah.
there's
R18,
BMW
M8,
M8 behind there.
this GTR LM from 2015, and the Bike College from 2016, I think.
Yeah, so we'll come back to him in a few years' time, and the whole wall will be covered in them. Yeah,
he's just
probably.
putting pictures on there of cars he's actually raced in iRacing. Obviously, talk us through your rig, because obviously, when we started off probably in COVID, we bought like the basic steering wheel, and then forever ingressing into and immersing into the world of sim racing, I think the sky's the limit for what rigs can actually be like. So just explain what you actually drive in, and are you one of these elitists that have got the best of the best, or are you a Logitech G9 guy?
I'm a sucker for good equipment. So when as soon as I had the chance to buy better equipment, I bought out. I spent all my money on it. I have an aluminum profile rig, and I have a VRS steering motor and pedals, and I have a Cube Controls Formula rim. So it's actually right in front of me. I can just turn the camera around if you want to see.
Go on then, let's have a look. Show the viewers how you race. Let's have a look at it. Might as well show off all the money you
There
spend.
it is.
Right, so
Excuse cable management.
Oh yeah, you gotta love cable management.
By the looks of it, he turns the screen round.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I have it on a swivel, and I can turn it around. So I have a study compartment and a racing compartment.
Genius. Space saving, because they do take up a lot of room, don't they?
Exactly. And I still live with my mom, so this was the only possibility for me.
He may not have done if he hadn't spent all money on the
Probably bought a house.
I mean, I've got to say, I've known exactly what you mean in terms of the cost benefit, because I started on G29 Play Seat Challenge, the cheapest thing you could get, and then the G29 decided to give up after about 6 years, so I just went full hog. So I've got like the aluminium frame, the Fanatec wheel, and that, and it does cost quite a bit. Do you feel that it's worth it to go for that little bit extra yourself? Because obviously we do know people who go out on a Fanatec and do okay, but do you think to get to that top level you really do need the equipment?
Definitely not. I think it depends on what you're searching for, what you want to get out of sim racing. If you just want to get on for a evening drive, you don't need anything more than a Logitech or a Thrustmaster. But if you're going pro, or if you want to go pro, it definitely helps. But as we see, we've seen many people make it to the top without any of the fancy stuff we have. So definitely not necessary. But if people have the extra budget, I say go for it.
Definitely. I mean, I love my gadgets, and you always got to have the best of the best. If you're going to do something, you might as well go whole hog. But like you said, a lot of people know quite a few people that are quick, and I'll say, your rig must be amazing. And they show me a Logitech on a desk with a small screen. I'm thinking, how do they manage to do that? It baffles me.
Exactly.
But obviously, we've got Sebring coming up, and obviously you said for Watkins Glen you did 1 hour practice before you came in the session. Have you done a little bit more practice for that track?
No, I'm all out on driving ACC every day. I'm going driving that later after this, so I will probably do the same for Sebring. But I have a bit more experience on Sebring and iRacing. At least I've done the 12-hour ones. So I think I have some advantage, some more advantage rather than I think on Watkins Glen.
Definitely. Any more from you, Dave?
No, I mean, I suppose the last one is Andy just mentioned there, sort of the small screen and that. With that swivel technique, have you only got the one screen, or are you triples or anything like that?
No, just single. This is actually a monitor I stole from my dad. I stole it from his.
Stolen sounds like he doesn't know it's gone yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So no, this works for me. It's curved a bit and it's plenty big, so I don't need anything more.
Yeah, I can't say anything. I'm on a 24-inch screen, so that's my excuse for running into people.
I don't know if I want to show mine with my measly iRating and what the gear I've got. I am what you call all the gear, no idea. I think I am. So hence why I'm sticking to commentating rather than racing in the season. I think I'll probably do a better job at that. But Håkon, really appreciate you coming into the pit stop maybe think of a better name for it, but coming in for the pit stop to just let us know a little bit about yourself, obviously, and look forward to seeing you in the rest of the season. And maybe by the end, you'll be doing a little bit more practice on iRacing and ACC, but we'll see, mate. But thank you very much for joining us. Is anyone you'd like to give a shout out to while you're on air?
My mom and my Instagram, if you want to follow my journey to France in October. It's Hakon Jökuls, so without all the special characters. If you want to follow my journey to France, I will be documenting it all on Instagram for those who want to see.
Mate. Brilliant, mate. Well, thank you for joining us, Hakon. You go and enjoy your ACC and maybe give iRacing a little bit of practice with Sebring on Sunday, mate. Yeah. Well, thank you, mate.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
So there was Hakon there, obviously one of our Icelandic drivers. I think we pretty much got we got some Americans, we've got Icelandics, we got a lot of Europeans. I think we got an Australian as well, a New Zealand.
Yeah, I don't think we have an African.
No, we haven't. Or we haven't got anybody from Brazil. So
not quite a world championship just yet.
Not quite a world championship, but we're looking for world domination anyway. So we'll see what it has. And you may see my trophies in the background. So I actually have one. In fact,
he's just got them off eBay, by the way, guys.
Cheek. But I do want to show, and I've got them here. They're not the finished article. So obviously the winners of the league, so all the pros, AMs, and rookies, including the team, get a bespoke trophy. So this is an example of what it's going to look like. Let's see if anybody. Let me put it around the right way. Which way does it go?
I already know where it is. I knew as soon as you picked it up.
Okay, I'm not asking you. I'm asking our viewers if they know what track that is. So it's going to look like this. It's not quite the finished article yet. So that's basically the size of the trophy. This is a partial trophy. There's one of them. I'll show you another one I did.
Pop it in the chat, anybody, if you know what circuit that is.
Yeah, and I'll let you answer this one. I need to put this around the right way.
Oh, I can see that before you even turn it round.
There we go. So yeah, there you go. So these are the sort of bespoke trophies that we're looking at giving the winners of the each class. So pro-am, and rookie. So that's just an example. It's not the finished article. It'll be all polished up. It's a little bit dirty at the moment. Haven't quite finished them. So yeah, that's what they're going to get. So there's some of the prizes, and then the trophies that you see behind me there. Moving 8 cameras there. So that was one there, like there. So that'll be for the second and sort of third places. And we've got some awesome prizes as well, Dave, haven't we?
Yeah, we do have some awesome prizes, and actually, we haven't actually gone round to telling people what they could win for different classes. And obviously, they are in the rules, but there's some people here who haven't got rules to sort of look at. So I mean, we could go through a few of them if I could get it to come up very quickly. There we go. Obviously, the top class, we said in the commentary that people wouldn't want sort of training if they're pros anyway. So in the rookie class, where are we gone? There we go. Found it. In the rookie class, the winner of the championship will get a driving tuition with a pro driver, which at the moment is Thomas Cope from the team, who I think he had a half decent first round.
He did. He came second in the first race, didn't he? And then unfortunately had an incident in the second race, but got pipped for that first race win in the first race. But yeah.
So driving tuition with Thomas Cope. If you're second, you'll be able to join the Apex Academy Silver subscription for a year. And if you're third, you can join it for 6 months. So you can get the setups, you can get the aid of the drivers from Apex, who I know sort of Jamie Fluke is a very good one in there. And name's escaping me. Berryman.
Loads of them in there, isn't there?
I can't remember.
We do some really good. Do some good setups, do some good track guides in there. I use it, and since I've used it, I could never get above 1500 I rating. I started using that, and I'm around about 1650 now. So I'm improving steadily.
I'm always going to say my I rating's gone down because of other people, not myself. But yeah. The AM category, obviously, these drivers are trying to improve, still trying to move forward. So the winner of this will be looking at a prize of CSL Elite pedals, which if anybody drives on a G29, they'll know what the pedals are like on that. They're decent enough, but not really what you're looking for. A set of Elite pedals is a great stepping stone up without completely breaking the budget. So the winner of the class will get them. Second in the class will have a Tricia from Thomas Cope, and third in the AM class will get a set of Sparco racing gloves, which obviously you're saying, oh yeah, you're racing indoors, but a lot of people wear gloves because certain wheels. I mean, I've got the McLaren GT3 wheel here, which isn't too. It's quite hard wearing, really, so it doesn't really matter too much. But some of the materials do fall away if you've got sweaty hands in the middle of a 24-hour race for too long. Just looking at the Pro-Am category, the winner of that class will receive £100 cash. Second in the class will receive a Mazda Day experience with Performance Link themselves at Donington Park, which is a experience in itself to go around that circuit. I've been lucky enough to go around in a mini challenge car, and that was quick enough as it was. And third place, a set of Sparco racing gloves. And for the pro category, so these, as we've put in the rules, aliens over, so we're looking people over 3,000 I rating, £200 for winner cash. Second place will get a pair of Sparco race boots or kart boots, and third place will get a framed track print from T Labs themselves. So there's plenty of prizes on offer there, just in terms of the position you finish in the championships. The teams have got prizes of discounts towards next season of the Performance Link Championship. And then there's also other prizes to go along, like drivers with released incident points at the end of the season, a driver's driver of the season, most attendance into races. So there's lots on offer, even if you don't get into end top three.
Yeah, there is. I mean, that's one of the things we wanted. Everybody loves the trophies and everyone loves the little prizes. So we've got pretty much something for everyone in the season, as well as having a good time out on the grid. But I suppose, Dave, we're coming to the part that we're going to dread doing, because I think the chat will maybe start lighting up now with maybe some of the decisions that we make. So we're going to look at reviewing the incidents that have been reported from last week's race. We're just going to remind ourselves. So there's three separate levels that can be given: stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Stage 1 can be awarded for an obstruction in qualifying during the race. Minor incidents that don't meet stage 2 criteria could incur a stage 1, such as hitting someone off a track aggressively from the side, causing loss of positions. Stage 2 is awarded for causing extensive damage to another car in the form of loss of position or time, changing racing line in an aggressive manner under braking. And then we have stage 3, the most severe. Penalty can be awarded for driving reckless, such as rejoining the track in an unsafe manner. Brake checking, causing a collision due to attempting to drive an excessively damaged car, or going late into a corner and causing collisions. So we'll try to apply them to the incidents that we'll see, but we'll look at it at all angles, and we'll try and bear in mind we are not full race stewards, so it's based on what.
And also to add that we haven't looked through these before. This isn't us looking through them and then doing it for fantasy purposes on the screen. This is the first time. I mean, Andy may have gone to check where they are and make sure replayers picked them up, but I definitely have not seen any incidents so far. So there's no sort of prejudgment already.
No, definitely not. All in the art of fairness, I suppose. So let's have a look. So I've got them here. I just need to get my iRacing up. And while we're looking at them, We'll add a little bit of music to the background so the viewers can have a bit of soothing music to listen to while they will watch our dulcet tones. So let's have a look at this. There we go. Okay, so first one is Alexander Rhodes with Lydia Ross. So let's find this one.
You've opened Right Replay this time.
I have, yes. That's why we couldn't find it yesterday, mate. That's all about it. So need to find Alexander Rhodes. There he is. So it is race 2. Race 2. So this is one I think we saw on the overlay last time. So in fact, I should put the paints on, really, shouldn't I? I haven't put the paints on. And it was lap number 2. So let's have a look at this then. So what we're looking for, is it this one or is it a later lap?
If you said it was here, it's not this one.
No.
Lap 3.
Be lap 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I think it's lap 3 of...
Oh, this is it. So Lydia goes off here. Let's have a look at this in slow one. So if we look from Lydia's, if you want any angles, Dave, then just let us
carry
know.
on for now. That's fine. She's obviously outbraked herself around wide.
Yeah,
it's
took
fine.
it wide. Let's take this down so we can see.
Well, the idea of netcode has gone out the window. There's definitely no gap there.
I mean, looking at it, it's hard because Lydia's quite far in front. You can see the McLaren behind at this stage and then just screams past. McLaren did have the opportunity to maybe move because let's have a look at it on board.
I was going to say maybe chop. On board first and then chopper would be best.
Okay, let's have a look at the chopper then. I just
you'll be able to
lost the
see
lap.
Space.
Who's
the other driver?
So it's the red Ferrari we're looking at coming through. So she
Yeah.
comes around here, goes out wide, obviously outbreaks. Oh, wow.
So,
I mean,
the first thing I look for is, could Lydia have rejoined at less of an angle? That's the first thing I look for because the barrier does start to come towards her and she's got to get back on the track at some point.
Yes.
See, so she's gone off wide here, as we'll see. And
just slow it down.
Yeah, so she's just outbraked herself. It's just a pure mistake there. So that isn't
easy thing to do.
What we're associating. She comes back level to start with the actual tyre wall, which is absolutely fine because you can't drive into a tyre wall. And she's trying to rejoin as soon as she can. Now I can see that she's tried to straighten the car up not to clip anybody, but there is a little bit more space on the right hand side of the McLaren.
Yes, it is.
To pull across, you see. That's what I would say initially.
There is, I mean, I think
because Lydia can't see what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, if we go on board, let's go in the cockpit. Coming down here, turn 1. Goes out wide. She's turning left to try and straighten the steering out.
And if we go on board with the driver who was touched, you'll see that I'm predicting there is a chance to see what's happening ahead.
Let's have a look.
It's only a guess, but we'll see.
Oh, up in there. Oh, there. Slow it down a bit.
So you can see the car. Yeah, you can see the cars out to the side, and the car is already straightened up here. Obviously, there's another car alongside, and it's sort of a sandwich effect. But we already do know there is a bit of room there. Obviously, Alex probably didn't know that room was there, but also where would Lydia? I've already seen a comment in the chat saying she didn't return safely, but where does she return safely? Does she stamp on the brakes and wait when she can't see her cars there?
I think the mitigating thing for me is the fact that if I can find her, I need to go on the car. Oh, is the fact that she straightens out her steering. I think if
she actually starts turning left.
Yeah, exactly. I think if she didn't, that is a slam dunk, unsafe rejoin onto the track. It's still a penalty in my eyes because she did have room on the left-hand side to do it. It's not like, we've seen some of the ones in the end and probably may even see some ones that literally do savage rejoins. That was...
That was one of them where I can see why both have done what she can. I've just seen a comment saying you were responsible to find a gap, but if you wind this back just very slowly, if you actually play it in slow motion backwards, she's already, if you play now, and she's trying to rejoin now, and the car is not alongside her. It's still not alongside her. She's only alongside there where she's already trying to rejoin the track. So that's where the mitigating circumstances come in for me, because I'm saying, well, yes, she could have looked sideways, but the McLaren would have you would know that Mercedes had gone off and would have full view to know it has to come back on at some point. Yes, could have been further down the track. That's my only point to Lydia. If you'd follow the barrier all the way down to here and rejoined, gives people just that little bit more view. It's less of an acute angle.
Yeah, so that's coming on point of view of the car in the red, 45 negative degrees. So I'm just on the, might as well take some of the views of the people who are looking. It should have to be more of self-preservation. Yeah, that to me that's the mitigating thing. If there was a car bang here and basically Lydia, like if you watch at the start, she is quite aggressive when she turns to come out. If I watch here, so you can sort of see she turns quite aggressive, but then straightens it out for me. And that to me, because you can go around here, it's really like 90 degrees, and then it straightens up, and then she's turning left to avoid.
But there's that little bit more space that could, like I said, follow the barrier along to rejoin, because it's the opening laps.
Yeah,
if this was later on in the race, would have got away with that really easily.
Yeah, I think that as well. It's the hard thing is because it's taken. I think obviously an incident there with Alexander, and then I think it's later on because she gets clipped and then rolls over into somebody else. I think that's really unfortunate because you look at it in hindsight, it's easy to say that the McLaren could have moved over, the Mercedes could have moved over, but it was literally, if you watch the contact, it's the smallest, minutest bit of contact that basically does. If Lydia had slammed into the side of him and threw him up into the air,
if it had been here at this point of the track, then there wouldn't be any penalty whatsoever. No, because she has to rejoin at that point.
Right, so we're in agreement. It's not a level 3.
Yeah, it's not. It's a very.
So
just in reply to the person in the chat who said, but she can't drive straight out onto track. She hasn't. She's tried to make sure the car is heading the same direction as everybody else.
Yeah,
and that's all you can do. And you have to rejoin at some point. But that's why we're saying from here, if she'd gone along the barrier and just rejoined later on because it's later, so early in the race.
Look at the angle she is at here. This is the thing for me. If you look at the angle here, she's literally 45 degrees to the track at this point. Now, if she carries straight on the 45 degrees and say hit the car right there, slam dunk, 100%. That's a level 3. unsafe rejoin. But watch the way the car goes like this, and then she comes along the line here, so she straightens it out. And unfortunately, it's the slightest bit of. I mean, at the moment, the track's free to her right.
Yeah.
But the cars are obviously a lot faster coming through. Now she's straightening out as you see that curve motion. And basically, you're talking. It's a penalty. 100% it's a penalty. I don't think it's a level 3. It's whether we think it's a level 2 or 1.
Personally, I would say it's a level 1 because she's tried to avoid it, and yeah, it's a difficult one between 1 and 2. But if that's not a level 1, it's like, well, what is a level 1? And please forgive us because we are trying to set the standard early on, because obviously if we set something at level 1, people will come back at us with a level 1 and go, hang on, this is level 2, so
yeah, I'm trying to get the rules up to, because a level 1 is a slight contact, which it is a slight contact, although the results of it is obviously it spun into Alexander's car into the barrier because it was that slight contact. You're saying I can't see the rules. Why can't I get? Can you get the rules up, Dave, and just read what 1 and 2 is again?
Fine. If I find them on my phone, then it's a lot easier to read from.
I'll tell you what, I've got them printed out here. So let me have a look at this. So sorry about this. It's
yeah.
Right, let's have a look.
There is not on there.
They all shouldn't take as long as this. It's where you get the contentious ones. This
is more. We've got to get the first one right because it sets the standard for the rest.
So stage 1 could be awarded for obstruction qualifying during the race, minor incidents that don't meet stage 2 criteria, such as hitting someone off the track aggressively from the side, causing a loss of position. So that's stage 1. Stage 2 is awarded for causing extensive damage to another car in the form of loss of position and time. Well, it's got to be a level 2 then, hasn't it? Because he's literally hit the barrier, damaged his cars, and lost position and time. So I think it's got to be a level 2.
Yeah, because it doesn't come under changing a racing line in an aggressive manner, but it does cause the damage.
No. So we are going to award a level 2 there to Lydia for that incident. Okay, next one is Gordon Haig. Let's have a look.
Because I would say, obviously, people are saying whether it's tight to call and things like that. Yes, we did pull out a book. Yes, there's plenty of pieces of leaflets towards this series. But yeah, in terms of each of these, don't come. What I'd say to you is if you're racing in this series and you see one of these incidents, go, oh, mine was exactly the same as that. No instant will ever be the same. So if we give that a level 2, but we give something else similar a level 1, just we'll have our reasons behind it.
Yeah, well, this is what this is. It's all about being open, being able to explain why we're giving what we're giving. Unfortunately, it was the slightest of hit. If Lydia had hit Alexander and basically he had just lost a bit of time, we would have given a level 1 there. But because of that little hit, he careered into the barrier. Literally, I think he towed back to the pits then. So it's got to be a level 2, unfortunately. So Gordon Haig with Jimmy Vark on race number 2 again. Race 2. Race 2 always seems to be the one that gets people.
That's because people have had a poor first race and want to catch up.
Yeah. Right. So we are looking at turn 9. Turn 9, diving from the back. So race 2, lap 3. So race 2, lap 3. Level 9 is...
It's also judging which corner's which.
Well, yeah, level 9 is the penultimate corner, I believe, on Watkins Glen. But we should see it. This is lap number 3. So let's see if we can speed it up. See if we see an incident that he's involved in. Oh, there we go.
There we are.
There we go. Okay, the infamous coming up to the blind corner. Right, let's have a look at this one then. So we'll look at it from the back view here first. Right.
My first thought is the BMW continuing at his speed when he can see the doors closing? That's the first
Problem
thought.
is the gap is there. Look how much gap is there.
Is he alongside before the doors shutting? That's the start of it.
Let's have a look at this. Far chase. So the door's still open, door's still open, door's still open, door's still open. He's starting to come up. He's starting to come up alongside at the back.
Isn't it? It's both.
I think it's both. The thing is that the Porsche driver gave him the room so that if he wanted to slam the door shut, he should have closed off this gap
earlier.
You know,
I think it was a late move to start with. So I'm watching brake lights at the same time.
I mean, if we go further back,
he's braking there. So it's quite a distance to start with, just very late on the brakes. A lot later on brakes because he's got nobody in front of him to think about. Yeah, I'm thinking.
You know, I mean, obviously the Porsche is braking because this gaggle of cars in front of him. Now, obviously, Jimmy's has got free track in front of him, so that's, you know, coming up to the corner. He sees
differing comments in the chat, but I would point out that I don't know if any of you are actually these drivers saying, you know what I mean, trying to defend yourselves.
Now, he should have been able to see, in my eyes, he should be able to see that
there he
Jimmy was right there.
Dive,
You'll be able to see him in his mirrors there.
And also your relative.
Yeah. Now, the gap's there, and any racer, if you leave a gap on this corner, will look on the inside. Now, the thing for me for the BMW is he doesn't come off his line. He is sticking to that inside line.
He is on the brakes now, though, isn't he, as well? Yeah, there he is. So he can see the door shutting and he tries to avoid it. So that initially takes away, looking at that, takes away any chance of a 3 or a 2 anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so if we are talking about anything, it's a 1.
Yeah, to me, the door was open for him to make that move. It was there near enough the whole way around that corner. I mean, if we look at it at full speed, the door's open. He comes up the inside. He's still open. Now it's closing, and he's braking to try and stop him and doesn't. Yeah. To me, that's a racing incident.
The situation with that is that BMW is sort of hovering to see if the door shuts and sort of the door doesn't shut. So he continues to try and make a move, and then the door starts to shut.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, he's coming alongside.
Hovering.
He's literally there. I mean, if I can, I don't really want to change my camera angle, so I just changed it. I mean, he's got the opportunity there. The Porsche's not closed the gap. Even there, he's still got it. Yeah. It's not like he's come right out here as well and hit the back of him. He stayed literally on that line, not far off that line. So to me, I think that's a racing incident.
Yeah, I would go racing incident. I would be curious to see the cars that get involved behind, just not for penalty reasons, just to try and give people an example of what they could avoid.
So this is obviously on board here. I think the problem is the Porsche slowed up because of the drivers in front of him.
Yeah.
The BMW's got the opportunity for the run on the inside.
He's not diving.
No.
That's the difference.
No, that's probably the normal. Yeah, that is a normal speed and a normal line that you can take around that corner. And I think the problem is, and obviously George may obviously disagree, but hopefully you can see that I think he was being held up by George was being held up by the drivers up here, slowed up a lot sooner than when he probably would have, and unfortunately the BMW was able to get up the inside. George did give him the room and basically things. So for me, that's a racing incident.
Yeah, I'm in agreement of that. Okay. What car followed in just afterwards? As the car got spun round, somebody followed in, and I just want to play Steve, so then we can see from there.
Would you want to know that from the rear or from the front?
Just facing the way we're going. That's fine.
Okay.
Just play that. It's just obviously whether somebody was too close to be able to avoid it anyway. It's not about penalties. This is just about learning. So the incident happens. Yeah, both cars look like they're going inside. So Steve decides to go outside. and then whoever it is,
George, is it?
yeah,
Unfortunately, he's
just
spun
not a
around
lot
and.
we can do. Yeah,
I mean, that's a notorious scorer, isn't it?
yeah, they've gone for the move that you would go for. So, in that opinion, I wouldn't say to anybody, do something different next time. And then you won't get caught up, because actually there isn't anything you could do. It looks like the cars are spinning to the inside. So
It's not like
if I was Steve, that's where I'd be going as well.
Yeah.
Because you don't.
Well, you got
because
no
if you
option
braked
there.
hard, you're going to be hit from behind anyway.
Yeah, there's no option. You had to go on the outside, and unfortunately, George was spun and was going to go across the track, and that's just.
And also, in George's mind, he's probably thinking, one, annoyance, it's happened, and two, how can I make sure that everybody else is going to pile into me? That's the initial feeling. So, yeah, we're happy with that one.
Okay, then we have Alexander Rhodes and on Dan Fendick. Race number 1 this time. Let's have a look at this.
Early action.
Early action in lap number 2.
No, Snife, it is very interesting to hear what hear the comments in the chat, because it does give us an extra almost view just to think about from somebody who was in the race, you see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what people are saying. I think, hopefully when George watches it back, and this cam just keeps moving on its own, is that he can sort of see that, the gap was there, and I did come across, and it's just one of them things. So
we've got race 1,
Alexander Rhodes, lap number 2, coming up through the boot. So in the boot, Dan wipes me out, though I'm leaving more space than required. Okay, let's have a look.
So we'll head to the boot. I think we almost had an instant at turn 1, which we missed as well.
Right. There's Dan. Is Dan behind him? No. Oh, this is lap number 3. It should be lap, so I need to find that one.
Yeah, also bear with us, because we had that extra rolling up lap, so we don't know whether people are saying lap 2 because it was lap 2 or lap 2 because it was racing lap 2. So that's why it's made it a bit harder to find things.
Yeah, so we're giving people the benefit, really. So let's have a look.
Yeah, Jakob, if it's protested, we'll go back to it in time. We don't want to start skipping around in circles.
Okay. So what's the...
Ooh, wait a minute. I think we just found it.
Right. Is that... Right. What I will say is this isn't the boot. The boot... Well, in fact, yes. Well, unless he meant the boot in the boot
section.
It is the boot section, I suppose. The inner loop bumping it. Right, let's have a look at it.
George's brake later. Well, the gaps was there. George hasn't. It doesn't look like George is coming off the racing line for me when he's on the apex. If everybody thinks back to Lewis and Max at Cops, everybody was like, does he make the apex? For me, it looks like the other car is making the apex and staying on. So like it's more because Alex has come down that any contact is caused. I'm not saying it's wrong, but like he's there now.
So he's proper. He is proper alongside him, and I think it's a carbon copy of the one we just watched. Probably this is even more cut and dry, because if we go on board with the Audi, you can literally see it. It's half of his car is alongside him, and then he gets squeezed in. So if we watch it from here,
yeah. So at this point, Alex has probably seen in his mirrors and gone, he's not there. But then he's braked a lot later, which is obviously how you make an outbreaker move anyway. Now, I would say it would be a penalty to Dan if he was no way going to make the apex, but he's already making the apex.
He's already halfway. The Ferrari is pushed in on him. And this is another classic where Alex hasn't seen. So as we'll look on board with both.
It is one of them which, I mean, I've had in karting so many times when people go, oh, well, he knocked me off. But actually, it was kind of you turning in that made the contact happen.
Yeah, there's a bit of both here. I mean, obviously, he is trying to go for the apex. There is a car alongside him, hits him, and obviously that gets them both spun out. And obviously, Dan loses positions there as well. So, I mean, for me, that's again a racing incident.
Does everybody miss Dan? Is a question. Because if Dan picks up no damage from everybody missing him, then obviously there's only time lost anyway.
Yeah, so he didn't get hit. So yeah, so that for me again is a racing incident. Agreed?
Yeah, it's just one of them.
Okay. Now we've got.
And I would say to anybody watching, while Andy finds the next one, that I would immediately say, Alex knew that the car was looking at an overtake. Maybe thought he wouldn't brake so late and gone to turn in. But if that car is braking later, you know, by the time he's turned in, he should have maybe had some idea. And if you also run the spotter on iRacing, he would have said that he's alongside, so you do have time to turn out of that. So also, if you're racing in this league, I would suggest having a spotter on, or use your crew chief.
I can't be doing this because I should have the paints on. I will take a slap on the wrist for that. So where is? So let's see if I can get the paints on.
Crew chief's a good one. I've got crew chief, and I've also got the iRacing spotter. I actually have both on, to be honest. But the spotter would have said something at that point. Yeah,
they said the car alongside you on the inside. Certainly would do on that.
And while we're on the spotter point and Andy's loading the paints, when we get to the pit stop races, if you've got crew chief and you run crew chief, you can also make it so this is definitely for rookies and that. If you don't know how much fuel you're going to need, you can make it so he helps.
Does he fuel for you? Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Sometimes he does get it wrong, especially don't rely on it on the Nordschleifer. I'll tell you that. Because he hasn't got a clue how long the Nordschleifer is. Because he'll just go, you've got one lap left and you'll get around 4 corners. But definitely if you want to, crew chief's a good one.
So I think I know where this is.
I was going to say, wasn't it just in the boot then?
Yeah, it's in here, I think. I think it's here. Yes. So I remember this one on the stream. Actually, this is the pile-up that we had on. This is obviously Jakub Zemensky with obviously Scott Mopes. So exit at turn 9, reversing to track in front of incoming cars. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look.
So this is the incident we've just seen, actually. Initially, isn't it?
Oh, this may be,
yeah. This was the incident where people got caught up, or maybe that was the lap after. I don't know, but.
Okay, let's look on board here.
Yeah, I could see why Jakub may think that, because obviously he comes round and sees just what's happening in front. So which car are we saying is reversing out onto track?
I think it's this one. It's Scott Mopes, which is this Performance Link car in front of him. Right. One thing I would say is why are we waiting to here? You can see the cars in front of you. Why are we not turning left?
At this point you can't.
No, you can see it now, and then straightens out and then moves. I mean, even if he hadn't moved, he would have still hit him.
Behaviour of 10 after I'd already passed him. Jakub apparently worded it wrong. It's a behaviour of 10 after he'd already passed.
I mean, all we can go off is what's written down here. I mean, reversing to track in front of incoming traffic. Now, let's have a look at from Scotty's point of view here. Far chase. So let's go forward. Okay, so here's Scott. Let's just reverse that. Yeah, so in fact, this is the.
So this is the same incident we saw 2 incidents ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So let's have a look at full speed.
So Scott does exactly what we said before. There's nowhere else he could have gone, got caught up. Versus touch, that's fine. Continues on, obviously gets caught up in another incident, which I don't know whether that will come up. And he's at some point he's waiting. He's waiting. You know,
So
when he gets caught up in this, there's something, you know, what we're talking about with it. Oh, is that the 10 car there?
Yeah, that's the 10 car there we're watching.
Okay, so he's waiting.
So he's gone past.
Yeah, it's difficult because I can't see. We haven't got relative to know. Yeah, he reverses up, but those cars that he hits. So,
the initial hit, I mean, you're coming around here, you can see here.
There's nothing
got nowhere to go. He's got on the outside. He's literally braking, trying to stop. Then he reverse out. That's fine. There's nobody around. He's being safe there. Comes around and gets hit again.
I would say there's a dangerous rejoin by 271 there.
And unfortunately,
being 90 degrees to barrier, he waits for all these to pass. At some point, he has to try and reverse out. He doesn't know where the rest of the cars are. If we could have a look at whoever,
well, I mean, it's not the thing is we're not doing that incident. Obviously, all we can look at is Jakub Semensky saying that reversing onto track in front of incoming traffic. Now, yes, he did, but the car that he reversed and hit, that's the person who that was. Should have been the one that protested. Now, we may have protest later on. We haven't got to all the protests yet. But looking from your, where's Jack?
I mean, that's the other thing. I know Jakub's in the chat. To be honest, once you got past the incident, you should be watching where you're going. You maybe should be looking behind at what the rest are doing. In terms of yourself, I can't see what anybody else could. I mean, yourself, you could have. You've actually continued into the incident almost yourself.
I think so as well. I mean, if you look at it, and this is why we're saying this, Jacob, because if you watch here in your cockpit, you're turning left, fair enough, but you're coming around the corner, still can't see the incident. Obviously, if you've got crew chief or whatever, it normally tells you. But now you can see it. You can see the incident in front of you. You can see the cars on the outside. There is room on the inside. You haven't got anybody on the inside. But then you straighten your steering wheel here. And then you turn to go round. Now, if you had carried on turning left, because you had the room on the inside, I believe. So let's just have a look.
Yeah, chopper's probably best.
Yeah, so you've got room here to go into. Or
I mean, obviously, the incident is sort of blinded by. Yeah, so the car on the inside wouldn't actually know the incident's happening, but Jakub could brake here. I mean, I don't know if he has braked. We can't see the lights from there, but braked and it's slotted in behind because there's a nice little gap there. It would have cost you one position.
It's one of them corners. That corner is horrible if there's an incident that's gone off in front of you.
Yeah.
Now, so if we look at the brake lights on the back. Let me come on here.
Yeah, come on, yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. We've come on. But you could still.
We could have turned. Yeah. You could have gone. There was room there. You can see here. There's room here.
Yeah, I would say there isn't anything there. It's one of them ones with a pile up, and obviously the later one, if it's been appealed, it's been appealed. But I also agree with point in the chat that the 3 or 4 cars would have had yellow flags. Seen a load of cars not moving on a relative, could have probably approached it a little bit slower. But that's not the incident we're dealing with.
No, I mean, if we look at the incident here, I think one thing for a learning point of view, I think, and this is obviously nothing against that, I know Scott anyway, but I mean, we look at it here, This is perfectly fine what he did here, and this is more for educational for the guys. He's come across, obviously got there, gets smacked up from the behind, goes across the end of the track, and he's sort of in no man's land now. He's literally got everything here. I think the problem he might have had is his relative would have been showing all these cars around him, and then he couldn't really see these other ones coming up because there's about 4 cars there, so it might be. But I mean, that is.
I don't know if there's appeal in later on, but if it had been appealed by somebody else, the rejoin of the car in front of Scott was the worst part of all that.
Yeah. So
on the other incident.
So from the initial from the incident that's being appealed,
which is now flying,
which is there.
Yeah, I mean, this all wouldn't have been a situation if that red and white car hadn't rejoined in that manner.
No, I mean, obviously, watching Jack up here, he's coming around the corner. There is sort of room in the inside at the moment. Obviously, I can see there that is probably the Olympus Esports team. Comes along, quite possibly. Braking hard. Well, I'm not sure how much braking it's hard. You can see his speed. If you look at his speed, it comes down at the end as well, Jacob. If you look at your speed, mate. So you're 112 here, 113, 114, 112, and it's coming down, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 it comes down there when you know you're going to hit him, I think. So I think one thing to take away would be if you see the yellow flag, just take it a little bit cautious, and then when you see that, maybe brake a little bit harder to stop yourself. I know it's against all the racing knowledge in your head, but I think that is a racing incident.
It is a difficult one to sort of, because you obviously don't want to start.
No,
that's fine, Jakob. You can discuss them all you like. It puts people in the chat, but we're not going to let something influence us. But like, for example, Team Bear Pope put that there's 3 or 4 non-moving cars on relative ahead of a choke point. Be prepared to stop. So that's where somebody was actually maybe in the race would give us some information, which we go, oh yeah, we didn't think about that or something, because we'll think about everything we can, but we'll always miss something.
But like we say, we're not stewards, guys. We're not stewards.
No.
We
Next
look
week,
at it and
Michael Massey.
There we go, mate.
He's coming in.
Right, so next one, we got Gordon Haig. Where's Mr. Haig?
We'll have a poll. You can have Michael Massey or whoever the fools are running it this year. Anyway, Racing Nigel Massey situations don't want to drive into a big wreck. Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah, especially with so many cars and so long to go in a race. All these incidents seem to be like 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Where's Gordon Haig? Am I blind?
You selected him before, so he can't be that far away.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought he would be. Where is he?
You could just put it in number
order.
There
he is. And Odvind Bredvik. Race 2, lap 10.
Okay.
So
it's actually the driver which we were just on about with his rejoin.
So where is it? Bus stop.
Yeah, this is it then.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. I can't. On initial thoughts, I'm just thinking it's 2 of you trying to go too wide in a bus stop.
Which is always a bad move.
Yeah, which is never a great idea.
It's absolutely terrible.
But you even made it across this bump here without running into each other. But for the other car, he's keeping it as tight as he can while carrying as much speed. I mean, obviously we haven't seen the onboard, but we're just.
Let's have a look at his car.
That's like the initial. No, that's lap.
I hate it when I do that. Is it lap 110? I hate it when I do that. Right, so let's watch his line here. So this is legit. That's fine. He's made he's 3/4 of his car ahead of the Porsche. Right, the other Porsche comes around.
It's a bit of net code there as well.
Now this is the normal racing line. The black one Odvin's on. So you do come there and then you come out and go around this.
Oh, Performance Links say it's not on about this. They've said it's after. It's a rejoin after this.
No, it's not. This
that's just what they're saying.
So basically, the incident is bus stop not giving enough space through. So it's basically it is.
So the appeal's coming from who?
It's coming from Gordon.
Gordon, okay, yeah.
And
so it's coming from
Odvin.
white and red car.
So it's coming from this.
Difficult one because actually at this point he is actually ahead.
Yeah, he's most of his cars ahead. Yeah.
Most of it ahead, and he leaves the car's width onto the curb.
Yeah, so he's given plenty of space there.
He knows he's going to need to back off in the second part.
171.
171, and it does reduce down.
So they're basically going about the same speed at the moment. Obviously, Odvin's going a
little
bit
off
slower
because he knows he's got to keep it tight, and he's trying to keep it. If we could have the on board to see where his wheels pointing, that'd be good.
Yeah, we'll just have a look here. Is it a bit of net code involved here?
Very slight.
Well, they don't make. They actually don't make contact. Yeah. Look, I mean, at no point.
What's his?
I mean, if we look back, there's literally they're bloody close, but there's no. I don't believe there is any contact. I'll slow it down even more.
No,
there is absolutely no contact at all. You know,
I am still curious of Orvid's steering angle, just to get that kind of idea of if he has a wobble in the middle. So he's turning left. He can't turn much more left. Still trying to turn sharp left. He's still trying to avoid it. Whatever. Look, he's still trying to turn left.
I'm trying to keep it tight.
Yeah.
Again, I think
276 invented a force field. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of net code in there. As we saw, there literally was no contact made between the two cars.
There was space on the left-hand side, but unless you slow down a lot, you're never going to get that car over there.
No, the racing line is, coming down here. You can see the line there, so it's coming down here. The normal racing line is to take this one, but then you take the other corner really tight, come out a little bit wide, come round in and take the other corner. I mean, if we watch it through his line, apart from taking that first corner, he comes around.
Yeah, he doesn't come off the racing line.
He's trying to give space, and I think as crap as it is, I think it is.
It's annoying because of the net code, and
it's a net code. It's really excessive, and when net code hits, we all know that it just throws the car off. I mean, you can see it here. I mean, that's just exaggerated now. It's just like, even if they hit, it would have been a side-by-side contact because look where they made contact. Here, when they're straight.
Yeah.
So why the hell did he spin off like a spinning top? It's just net code now. Okay. Oh. There we go. Unfortunately, that's racing incident. Next one is Thomas Cope with Thomas Stevens.
Assuming this is the one on.
Yeah.
Stream we saw.
It will be, yeah. So it'll be be lap 2, wouldn't it?
Just to answer that one, we don't worry about whether we're in the same class. Whether they should be racing or not is, for me. I've already said this to Andy and to Tom, one of the admin. I've said at the end of the day, even if they're different classes, if they want to race on track, that's kind of their own choice. You'd get that in normal races as well. If we start saying you can't race each other's in different classes, you can't do this, you can't do that, we may as well just put you all in separate races.
Yeah, there is that thing there that if there's faster cars, like a faster class is behind and he's clearly faster than you and you're trying to block him, that is not acceptable. But what is acceptable is if you're quite close racing and you're in different classes, because bear in mind, guys, that some people are going to have better tracks, some people are going to have worse tracks, and and we can't just throttle, like Dave said, we can't just throttle somebody because
Tom,
they're in a different class. Yeah. So this is Tom up in front here.
I'm presuming these are two teammates in front as well.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the incident here. So it's coming up to the next corner. Let's watch it here.
There'll only be whatever reviews come in, Rockstar.
You what?
Sorry, Rockstar says there isn't any Pro-Am reviews. It'll be whatever reviews come in whatever order.
It's basically the penalty sheets. If you want to see which one's coming next and such like that, if you look at your penalty sheet, you'll be able to see.
So he gets a run out, goes to the inside. He does go to defend.
It's a block. I think it's a...
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the bit in the corner, I haven't...
The thing that makes me is watching a minute where Tom's going up here. Yeah. Tom's got the run on him on the inside, and then he moves in.
Yeah, it's that
for
bit
me,
that's the issue.
You know,
because I think the bit in the corner, unlike before where it was like you could fit the Titanic down the inside of another car.
Yeah,
he's not that far off the apex there. I know Tom's looking at the inside, but it's. So
let's see what.
Yeah, I mean, if you can see the mirror, Tom's there. Yeah, there is a move there to defend, which I kind of understand because his teammate's in front. But then this bit in the corner, I can't see. I don't see that as much of an issue.
So I think this is a prime case, I think, for me, of two different classes. So you got the Pro-Am at the front and the Pro at the behind. Now, this for me, if I'm honest, I don't know why Tom is fighting so hard to be defensive against the Pro driver behind him that's clearly got the run on him. So if we look back here, so we look coming into the corner previous. So Thomas has got the run on him here, clearly. You can see that.
For me,
going on the inside, got the room, and then basically it makes a blocking move on the inside.
Like the first bit, if he'd come off that curb and stayed left and defended Tom, that's fine. I know what you're saying about different classes, but it wouldn't be a driving issue as such. It'd be a manner issue. Whereas this, because he moves away, makes it quite clear he's going to be a part of a track and leaves a gap that Tom goes for. That's the issue, and that obviously then coincides into the incident in the corner, which I think is less of a time because the guy in the corner, he's not miles off the apex anyway, so I think it's more this one where he makes a move.
I think it comes down to making him. I mean, I suppose it's coming up here. He's on the brakes there. Right, he's changing his direction in the braking zone of the corner, and that's what sort of for me.
It's almost what happens afterwards is negated because you think about this bit where Tom would have been up the inside if he hadn't made that second move.
Yeah, he would have. Because if you look here, he's completely got the run. You can see the car in front go out and then comes back in.
Yeah.
So it does block him going into the corner to making the pass and move, and then that just catalysts into what we got here, for me anyway.
Yeah, I would say, what happens in the corner is secondary, and it happens because the first bit happens.
I mean, clearly here, he's got the run. He got in for it there. He's got the run. He's got the inside line as well because Tom was going out, and then basically Tom came in to cut him off. I think coming around this corner it's almost like there is room on the inside.
The steering moves before, just to answer Mansell the man, the steering moves before contact is made. The contact is made because he comes across.
Yeah, so if we look here, look at this car coming out here.
Tom holds his line. Yes, he's coming away from the white line, but he's still holding it. He's clear. The car starts
moves
coming
back in,
across,
comes back in.
Then the contact happens.
Yeah. If he had stayed on his line that he was probably going to go on, Thomas would have been up the inside. if he was staying on his line, if we watch his line where it was, you know, that's not the normal race line for that corner to be on this side to take this corner. It's this car here is the normal racing line to come in. So if it was on the normal race line and this sort of happened, you could say, but I think Tom will probably say in his own words, looking at that yeah, I did make a move coming into the braking area that basically blocked in my eyes.
Yeah, it's this initial bit that's the penalised area.
Right, so I'm not. So we've established that. So now we're back into a normal condition here. There's,
I myself, this second bit is kind of a bit of a racing incident because Tom thinks he's clear of Tom Cope. It's difficult because we've got two Toms, but Tom in front is thinking he's clear because Tom Cope's obviously backed out at mid corner. And then obviously we got Thomas's nose is still there. So then he gets a little bit of contact, but then he gets punted as well from behind. Mansell, we'll come back to your point in a minute.
just looking at this.
See, it's just one of.
The question is the gap there for Thomas to get into? So I'm not disputing this. I think this is to me this is a slam dunk that it is a blocking move. It's this. So is Thomas retaliating for that move that's just happened to go on the inside? Is the gap there for Thomas to get?
If you can go on board with Thomas Cope, it's very difficult to judge. Let's just see if, because I'm watching the speed at the same time. So speed's still coming down. It's not coming down a huge lot.
I suppose no, because I mean, if you look at it, he is trying to get in, but Tom's coming into the corner quite quickly on that one. I think let's watch it at normal speed.
Yeah, I think because when they come into the corner, there is literally only a Porsche size gap. It's not a Porsche plus a bit. That the lead Thomas probably thinks he can come back across.
Probably, yeah. I think that one is.
Yeah, in terms of the Patrick's point about getting in mind that these guys have just swapped position and now he's trying to hold up Tom. We don't know that. You know, it's been one corner. If it had been multiple corners of slowing him off, fair enough. But you know, we've got teams in a championship, and yeah, maybe it's a little bit naughty, but as long you can defend if you want cleanly.
Well,
but
I mean, this is a prime example of where we're at. We've got a Porsche car behind a Pro-Am. It is early on in the race. It's only lap number 1, actually. This is the first lap, isn't it?
Lap 4, sorry.
Lap 4.
So it's lap 3 of the race.
Yeah. Yes. And this is what we're saying, guys. You know, this sort of incident can be avoided in that you've got a Pro-Am defending from an Am. Now, there's not a lot to be gained by defending quite hard because he's not racing in points. These two cars are not racing in the same points. Now, what we're not saying is you can't not race each other. You certainly can race each other. But, you know, in this sort of scenario where you've got a pro driver all over the back of you.
Yeah. I would kind of say, because we're looking at two different instances here, aren't we? We're looking at the one in the braking area, which we've already mentioned, because people are going back to the initial tap. We're forgetting about that because that's decided between us. We've already sort of mentioned that. This is about what happens in the corner as well. So it's two separate things almost.
Yeah, we're looking at now. Yeah, this to me this is certainly a penalty. That I think that is blocking. This I think is probably a carbon copy of before, and obviously, unfortunately, got punted up behind. So what actually made Thomas spin there was the hit from behind. It wasn't a contact with Tom here. So he hit Tom, and he stayed it, and then he got hit behind, and then that's what spun him out. But unfortunately, because he made that contact, because he made the contact with the car, slowed him up. The car behind had no option. Couldn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, the one in the corner, I just think is just sort of one of them. Like,
I think so.
Both drivers could have avoided that, especially being in separate classes. Tom Stevens could have been a little bit. He could have thought, "Hang on, is his nose there? I'll stay out a bit wider." Tom Cope could have gone, "I'll live to fight another day."
Yeah, I mean.
And can Toms not have a battle next time, please? Really hard to try and discuss it.
Right, so, I mean, what is that?
I've also seen Tom Stevens has mentioned in the chat, well, Andy looks for the penalty system. You're saying it's not in the braking area, but you are on the brakes. We can literally see the brakes on there.
I'm not being funny, and you know what?
And Mansell, I'll still come back to your point about blocking afterwards, but obviously we'll get this done first.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, so what is this?
Yeah, 3 Toms next time. No, please don't put 3 Toms in the same instance.
I know.
While Andy's having a look at the rule book, Mansell, just to mention, you said what's wrong with blocking. There isn't anything wrong with blocking or defending your line. What it is about, in this instance, it's a pro-am against a pro. Now, I understand the pro-am and the pro in front of teammates. We're going to get that. But it's the move, it's a reactive move to Tom Cope, obviously already having a look at that move.
Inside.
I understand Tom Stevens has said, it was a little abrupt as he didn't realise it was pro and covering his position. I get that, and mistakes happen. But sometimes you just have, mistakes still have to be penalised, as we saw with Lydia at the start of all this. She didn't mean to rejoin in that manner, but actually that mistake has caused an issue, and we don't want it to be happening again. So you penalise it. Yes, somebody might get caught up for it again. But that is the problem with multi-class racing. You're going to get, I'm a little bit more lenient than, say, Andy or Tom or any of the other officials who might talk about it. I do understand the need, the want to defend your position, even if it's not the same class.
Tom, I think the only thing for me, and I think you probably agree, mate, is, if this was one movement and you covered off that inside line,
we wouldn't be talking about it.
We wouldn't be talking about it. To me, I'd be like, yeah, okay, because you're here now. You don't need to go out here, but you're going out here, and
doors open.
Obviously, doors is opening for Tom being quicker, and then you realise that and came back across. I think that's the problem here on this one. It's not the fact that you're probably defending a pro, because if this is the first corner you defended a pro, then so be it. But if you're doing it for 4 or 5 laps, constantly defending, then that's where we have the issue with the not letting him pass. But I mean, I think we can say that you were and then you turned in and stopped him from making the overtaking move. So
again, in reply to your Mansell, you're saying earlier you didn't take into consideration classes. If that was the same class, the penalty would still be the same, because he's still made that move after, and it's reactive rather than an instinctive defence. If he's
not getting more, he's not getting more because he's a pro-am and it's a pro. It's basically, there was an incident and it's been asked to be reviewed. We're reviewing it. So according to the rules, it's a stage 2 is awarded for causing extensive damage to another car in the form of lost position and time, changing the racing line in an aggressive manner and the braking. I think that's a level 2, I think, in my eyes.
I'm personally in agreement.
Okay.
If they were the same class, it would still be the same decision, because it's still it's that move. It's not about whether he's not. It's an error of judgment at that time. It's not on purpose. I don't think Tom is sitting there going, "Well, my teammate's on front. I'm going to take this guy out, or I'm going to pull across his nose." It's just, I'm going to defend because I've got somebody right on my back. That's honestly what I think it is.
Right. So,
Patrick, just in reply to you, it is all in the rules of different. But at the end of all this, we will go through what each stage is, just to clear it up.
Oh, we did it. Well, I actually did at the start. So
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay.
Had to say, and they can look
Wind
in the
back,
rules
Ben.
of what it says. Just look in the rules, and that's all I'm reading, guys. So have a look at the rules. So this one is Matthew Gerard against Matty Chambers, not Chambers. Chambers, as I said. So I do apologise.
Sorry, you've gone back to common chambers now.
Yeah, Chambers. Yes. So race 1, lap 3, straight up to the bus stop. Coming out of the S's. Bumped past, causing me to spin, losing multiple positions. Okay. So have we just missed it?
Well, he's just come out of the pits, so I'm presuming it's a lap before.
I think. Where are I? Let's have a look then. Where's Matty? There he is.
Yeah, Tom, we get that. We don't think it was an intention to block because it was teammates or anything. It was just one of them where you've tried to defend because you've seen a car behind you. That's it. That's done. Right. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. This is becoming a bit more clear cut. So, is there a chain? I'm finding it difficult to see why Matty's going left on that one. If you've got such a run on somebody, is the car in front definitely okay? So he weaves a little bit there, but
he's basically on the inside there, isn't he? If you look where he is there, this black car goes to the inside. So Matty's thinking, right, okay, I'm going to go to the outside. Now I'm going to go to the inside. I think the indecision of the car, and bear in mind, I know this because Matty in the first race had a particularly terrible qualifying, so ended up at the back end of the grid. So this is a pro driver, and this doesn't, by the way, this won't instigate anything. This is mainly for learning for the guys against. I think Matt's a rookie driver, I believe, but I think so. Matthew goes out wide. So Matty's coming on the inside. Then he drops back in the inside. Matty's starting to go on the outside. Coming up the inside, realizing he's going quite quick, and then turns to the left. And at the same time, I think Matthew turns to the left as well.
Can we see Matty's view in the cockpit full speed?
Yeah,
because then we can see the decision that he was making. No, you're on the right person.
Yeah,
Matty, not Matthew.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the car in front is starting to drift out left. And then we'll just see Matthew's inputs first. So he has a quick look just to make sure he's not avoiding things.
Does he just move right at the minute?
For me, Matthew is staying on the racing line. And Matty's sort of been a bit indecisive on which way to go, and that's ended up being a collision rather than, like, at this point, I don't see where else Matthew was going. If you get what I mean.
Which Matthew are we talking about here? You're talking about Matty or Matthew?
We've got Tom and Tom and Matthew. Matthew, I don't think Matthew Gerard does a lot wrong because he gets back onto the racing line and stays there, and obviously the racing line drifts out wide. I think Matty probably just gets misjudged by the whole thing and can't decide whether to go left or right.
Look at the screen in the middle. Like Matty's got some NOS button coming up the top of this S's. Look, wow.
Like it's fine.
It was just,
then,
wow, what happened there? What's this?
For me, Matty's the one with a slight indecisiveness of whether to go left or right. Because Matthew stays on the racing line once he gets back on it.
Yeah, but the problem is the speed. I suppose it's the speed. I mean, if you look at this, when he comes up, he does make a jerking wheel movement at the top. So if we come up there, and jerks over to the right. I don't know, it's a hard one, this one, actually. So what do you think then?
Personally, I don't think Matthew Gerard does anything wrong. He has that wobble, but he's already back in line by the time. So he has a wobble just after this because he gets such a run on the car in front. He thinks, shall I go for it? Realizes he won't. Pulls back in and then stays sort of where he is. And the car behind is the one sort of kind of misjudging whether to go left or right.
I think the problem I have with it is if you watch Matty's here, he's on the inside here. Matt Chalmers going up, and then watch when they both turn left. So if for me, so if I slow it down here, so Matthew's going out left, then coming back in right, so back onto the racing line. That's fine. Now, the racing line is, if you look at where all these cars are, it's pretty much on the inside coming up through this corner. Now, I think if you watch when these two cars both turn left, now, they're almost following each other across the side. Now, Matty Chambers is braking when he realizes that. If you look at it, when they turn, they both turn out. The thing for me is, if Matthew had stayed on his line that he was and didn't drift it out to the left, there'd have been no dramas here because he would have gone here.
He's going to go left because that's the racing line, isn't it?
But is there a fault at that? Because I suppose if you're the car following behind and you see the car going on the inside, you see him go out wide and then go on the inside, you're coming up behind him. It's because it's so close and right at the top of the S's, isn't it? What's your take on it? What's your take on it then?
I honestly don't think there's any blame on Matthew Gerard because he's following.
No, I'm not saying there's blame
in
on
terms of Matty.
It's
this
is the thing. It's Matthew on Matty.
Have we got? Yeah, we got his speed up so I can see how much he scrubs off. So he's getting a run. Comes into the corner. Obviously, there's that little wobble, but he's getting a run. And there isn't really any scrub off at the speed when he's trying to judge which way to go. I'm not saying that's to blame. I honestly kind of think it's just a misjudgment. But whether it's a misjudgment penalty worthy, I'm not sure. Because at this point, it's which way do I go? And being a pro driver, really, I mean, myself, I would have gone right. Every time I would have gone right. And if a person defends, lift off. Just having a quick look to get some people coming out. Find a big run, you have to lift because cars ahead cross right. Car in front is not reacting and is following racing line, so responsibility car behind you. Have time to time it so you pass inside about 50 minutes later. Yeah, I do get that. I do get that.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I also don't think it's where we have the level 2 and 3. I'm not sure it's 100% 2 or 3 because yes, it causes damage, but it's just it's a very small minor misjudgment. It's not like it's a premeditated move or anything like that.
I think what it is a lesson here is, you can see here on this car, if I go on, see if you can see it in the cockpit. Like we've said before to the guys, there's 2 chevrons here. There's one here and one here. This denotes obviously a rookie driver. Now, rookie drivers are obviously the lower I rating spectrum, so therefore you just need to take that sort of into account as such as being a pro driver to basically just back off and make sure you get the pass and move. I think maybe Matty's just not realised that because he's trying to work his way through the field.
Yeah, I mean, as a pro driver, you're just trying to get back up to pros as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Now, to mitigate this, we've obviously got a new system, so this should be mitigated in the future anyway.
I see Mansell the man is Matty in the chat. He does say it looks like it did in the moment. We both turned left at the same time and just had no time to react. Yeah, I think that. I agree that.
Being
what I would say to you is being the opening lap, we've got it on board here. I'd be lifting here, just a slight lift, so you still got the run, and then letting him decide where he's going, and then going, I'll go the other way. You know, that's what I would say. I understand the sort of eagerness to try and get through, but and you're going, oh, I've got to run. I'll have one of them out the way before we even get to the bus stop. But there's just that indecisiveness of which way to go. Because I would never have gone left there around a rookie, because they could be somebody who has racing line on. Now, if you've got racing line on, and you've seen it in iRacing before, people get so fixated on the racing line that they actually stay on it, whatever it does. So that's why I'd never go left there unless I completely trusted the guy to go right.
I mean, that's the question, and then it's proportion of blame, isn't it?
It could also be just quickly with Matthew that he's gone, I can see there's somebody coming up quickly behind me. I'm going to stay on the racing line so I'm predictable and not defend, and that's why he hasn't gone right. You know, that's what I'm thinking there with Matthew. You know, he's gone, you're a pro driver, I'm a rookie, or whatever class. I'm going to let you go, but hasn't like literally indicated or anything like that. She can't do that in iRacing. Isn't racing line turned off for the season? It could be.
It is.
Sure.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, if a driver has practiced with racing line, it could be a situation where they're concentrating on that, especially lap 1 of the season.
It's not free, this one, isn't it? It's not.
I would honestly we might have to brush this one down as it's a racing incident, but it's a big lesson for the cars who are quicker coming up behind the lowest class of car.
I think so.
And that's no disrespect
this
to you,
is...
Matthew.
No, it's not. I mean, why can't I find
personally, Matthew? I think we're saying Matthew didn't do anything wrong.
No, he
Matthew didn't really do anything wrong. It's just misjudging how quickly he's catching the guy in front.
Where is he? Why have I got the wrong? Have I got the wrong? Stupid thing. I don't know. It's this lap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this it? No, it's not.
No, because he seems very close to him there. It's lap 2.
That's
lap 3. Yeah.
All right, so it's the first lap after the start.
First racing lap, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Is it?
No,
that's not him.
That's not him in front, no. So yeah, it must be this one. Silverman says lap 3. So that must be lap 3 of the race. Yeah. Is it lap 3 of the race, Matty?
No, that's not that one. That's not it. We just had it a minute ago as well.
Yeah, this is what I'm asking. Is it lap 3 of the racing lap? So it'd be lap 4. That's what I'm thinking.
I think it'd be lap 4 on it.
Because obviously, because that's the guy in front, isn't it? Is it? No, because the pink car's not there.
No.
Are you sure you're on heat 1?
Yeah, heat 1.
Yeah, but have you clicked on it? Click on lap 2 of heat 1. There we go. Yeah, there we go, because the pink car's in front.
Yeah, it's lap 2.
Yeah, it was a bit confusing, Matty, with the first lap or whatever. So that's the confusion. So it could have been lap 2, but it was actually lap 1 of the race, so we don't know what people have filed it under. We won't have that issue from now on, but this is it.
I think this is just the classic of, like you said, with Porsche, with a pro trying to overtake. And this is one for both, I suppose. This is for the pro as well as the rookie to say, look, you can clearly identify it's a rookie, and this is why we've done it, to put the 2 chevrons on, to say that's a rookie driver, and to take care. I know it's been said in the driver's brief as well, you need to take care with trying to pass. If it was a normal circumstances, like a Pro-Am driver, there'd probably be more obvious where they're going. There is a slight movement, and I know what you're saying, Matty, as well, is that when it comes up here, he is going left, so it looks like he's giving you the option to go on the outside. But then both at the last minute, you both start turning left out onto the thingy. So I think we'll...
As much as it gave damage to Matthew, it's not something we can chuck a penalty at.
I don't think. But going forward, and this is like the only option, only time it's going to happen. I think the only reason why we're probably not going to give the penalty here is just to clearly state to any driver that's passing a rookie that you just got to give them space, because they could be a little bit unpredictable because they are in the lower class of the I rating. It just makes it a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? So I think
Alex
you can
Rhodes,
see here.
we'll look into a time stamping afterwards.
So I think it's unfortunate, and I know Matty's not a dirty driver at all, and I think it is just the fact that I think Matthew moved over from the inside, and I think that's probably what threw Matty. But that's just a perfect opportunity, guys, for to be aware of when you're trying to overtake rookie drivers. Just give them that little bit of space. And thinking, obviously, with the new setup, we shouldn't have this apart from when you're lapping a rookie car. But even in that sort of scenario, you still need to be careful. But by this time, the brakes will be warmed up, the tyres will be warmed up, so they should be a little bit more predictable. But this was the beginning of the race, and this should now never happen with the new one. So we're going to put that down to a. Should we put an educational? Let's see what
an educational error, an EE.
An EE.
No, I am on Vodafone, so I'm not sponsored.
Okay, next one is Jacob again. Let's look where Jacob is. There he is. And
when we say again, we don't mean anything by it, Jacob.
No. I'm just saying again. Just the next.
Yeah, it's almost like Matty chucking yourself in an official race and not knowing what anybody can do. And I had an official race the other day where somebody was 15 seconds off the fastest lap time on their fastest lap. It was so unpredictable. But you drive in iRacing. I'm not going to say that about this field, but you drive in iRacing like everyone's an idiot.
Ooh,
Speaking of.
Okay, here we go. So this is both spin, lose out track positions, hitting the 302 car in the process as well. So this is, I think this is the incident. There's Dan there just behind. So let's have a look at the incident. I think this is going to be the best view. Let's see if it's a lunge.
Just to answer Michael, we're not setting you up for anything because we can penalise it in the future, but it shouldn't be happening in the future because we haven't got the new rules.
We have got the new rules. The new rules are out.
And also, now that you've just said that, we'll be watching you with like a hawk just in case. This one, I think, off initial viewing, it's the fault of the car behind.
I think it is.
Because he's quite a long way back. Yes, he's late on the brakes by a long way, but they haven't even made the apex. Jacobs maybe had to brake off a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there's no way. Just obviously, Michael, just to answer your question there, the reason why we're sort of not giving a penalty is I want that one to be an educational one, because I think that's a prime example of what we were trying to say to the classes that were going towards the rookie classes, and I think that is a good example to show, and just basically lay out what we're trying to say is that this is what you shouldn't really be doing and I agree with that. And if Matthew, if you want to put in a redress for that, then you're more than welcome with another steward would have a look at it. But hopefully explaining that going forward that won't happen again, and it shouldn't do with the new setups that we do have. But let's have a look at this one. To me, this looks like clear cut.
Yeah, I mean, who is it behind? It's Dan.
Dan.
If you go on board with Dan, that's probably the best for you, because you'll see how late he dives. He's quite far back here. Takes half a look. That's absolutely fine to take half a look. Yeah,
right, so the braking marker here is round about between the 200.
Well, you can see the brake lights on the Porsche. There's a full Ferrari braking.
He's not braking yet. He is now, I think. Yeah, he's now. So he is later.
But the way to look at this is the Ferrari is heading towards the apex well before you're even alongside the car.
Yeah, there's no way he was going to stop that.
You know, the touch isn't even hitting the door of the Ferrari. You know, it's hitting a bit behind the rear wheel. I think the best view would be the left front on this car. We got the left front suspension. Here we go. So you're okay having a look here, but then when you hit the brakes, yeah, the gap's there, but it's always going to, you know,
it's always going to close on it.
Jakob has to turn in somewhere.
And I think if there wasn't contact, then he would have just shot off. He would have been off the racing line anyway. I think I think he went in a little bit too hot. I mean,
Jakob doesn't turn in as early as he could because of the Porsche in front, so he's reactive slightly. But you know, whether he misses the apex is kind of a blind point because he doesn't make it to the apex before the contact.
So has that Ferrari got his brakes on? I know that one has.
I think they're just very dull on the Ferrari. I think that's the problem. But like, he hasn't turned in there because he's just trying to make sure he won't run into the back of the Porsche. So he turns in a touch later than he probably planned to. So it takes him slightly off the racing line, but Dan's not even alongside before he even reaches.
I mean, that is quite far off. He's not even. Yeah. He's not even relatively close, is he?
No, it is literally from nowhere. And as I say, if you put it on left front suspension and just play it through to the contact, you'll see that the car isn't anywhere near. You know, it doesn't even need an onboard view. To be honest, you're lucky to hit the back wheel there, and it's a penalty for Dan, in my view.
Yeah. So that is a lunge into a corner, and I think in the rules that is a stage 3, unfortunately, which is just rejoining the track in an unsafe manner, brake checking, causing a collision due to attempting to drive an excessively damaged car, going late into a corner and causing collision. Which I think this is what this is, isn't it? He's quite far off there. Braking there, he is braking later, and it's just and unfortunately, Alexander again gets hit. Didn't have much luck there, Alexander, did you? Wow. It's not that McLaren, and then obviously damaged car. So I think that's got to be a level 3. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, that's a level 3. Next one, only 2 more left, guys. So Tom Stevens against Patrick Thompson. You can just see how long these take to actually do.
Tom, come on in again.
Tom Stevens. All right, let's have a look. Tom Stevens.
Yeah, Alex, in terms of you were saying the incident with you felt like it came out of nowhere. I don't know if you're on about the one with Lydia at the start. In terms of that one, I know what you were saying about field of view earlier on. You know, you probably don't have this field of view that we've got set up here, but it was quite clear the car was off the track. That's what I was saying before, and you know, you would have seen it at some point. But yeah, that in terms of this, well, that one, you would have think it definitely come from nowhere.
Yeah, I think looking back in hindsight is always a wonderful thing.
Oh yeah,
when you
can rewind it.
Yeah. I mean, by all means, you know, if you think it's a penalty, and this is what we're saying to you guys, is if you think it's a penalty, then by all means, you know, put the protest in, get somebody to look at it. And then if we look at it, and this is what we're doing like every week to show you, to try and explain. So hopefully you understand why we're given what we're given. I think the problem with a lot of the penalty decisions is you can't see the process about what's being made, right? So this is the last corner.
That's why you're hearing me literally commentate what I'm thinking throughout it, because I've literally done this kind of thing in real life.
To cover off Thompson had a better run out of the previous corner. He ran into the back of me, which resulted in me being pushed out wide and losing position. So it must be this corner. Is it this one?
So we're looking at an ABC car independent. Yeah, I've done this kind of thing in real life for people, and people come up and go, "Oh well, you should look at this," and it's like impossible to check it because we don't have replays.
Which lap is this? So it must be lap 4 then.
Yeah, it's one of them where at least we can go over replays, go back and forward.
Beauty of iRacing. It's not this one.
When you're doing it in real life, you don't have a chance as a car spotter, and you have to decide it straight off. And I've got them wrong before. I've seen a video of one where I got one.
Lap number 3. Is it this one? Both to spin on these out. Not seeing it. Where is it? So it's against Dan. Oh no, that's the one we just done.
In terms of his start of races,
race 2. Sorry, it is race 2. Sorry, it is race 2.
Rockstar. In terms of race starts, it was a bit confusing in this race because we had that extra lap rule that we're having, and people weren't sure when it was going to go and stuff. So we've cleared that up now. So in terms of this race, we just have to kind of forget what happened because there's not a lot we can do about it.
Obviously, in the future, if it's not the lap that's stated on the penalty things, straight away it'll be thrown out because it needs to be. Obviously, we're giving the benefit of doubt on the first one because of that extra lap we had. So that's why we're being a bit more. But in the future, if it's not the lap that the person who's processing says it is, or the corner that the protester is saying it is, then it's no further action because, I'm not finding it. What am I? Maybe it's lap 4.
Yeah, this looks like it could. So is this the incident we had before? So the spin of Tom Cope, which we went through.
This is not it. It's not this one.
Race
2. Oh, wait a minute. Race 2. Oh, I think it's final lap. So it might be his final. Balls. Matty. Change. Last lap.
Yeah.
Right, who's out front? No.
Is it going on to a final lap?
It's just got final lap. Final corner. I held the inside line to cover off Thompson.
Yeah, you're on Matty, not Tom.
Yeah. Oh, what a div.
Right team, wrong car.
Oh, man. My word. Right, let's...
Thomas.
Where's Tom? Where is he?
Stevens.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah.
Right, I might get it now.
What we'll do in future is we'll put it in number order, and if you can put the number on the protest, that'd be useful.
It is in actually number order.
Okay. No, on the results sheet, I mean.
No, it's just me being me getting it wrong is.
I think that was it. Yeah, because that's the last lap. So if you just go back a bit more. That's
it is. Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
You need to go back. You missed it.
There you go.
If you've ever used auto racing replay, it's not easy.
No.
Well, first of all, not looking at Patrick's comments in the chat, I would say it's a bump and pass, which is a karting term of bumping to gain an advantage, which isn't always on purpose, but it looks like Tom's. I sort of joke about this, Tom. This time you did hold your line tight. You didn't make that move. You held your line tight, and then Patrick misjudged it and bumped him wide. And that Patrick has actually put. I mean, it's a penalty against me. In the chat is a. I don't know if it's meant to be about him or whether he thinks it is a penalty.
No, you can't, Patrick. You can't talk about it because you're in it.
Hasn't stopped other people.
No.
But... Yeah, I kind of agree with Bear Pope there that if that happened to you, if I was Patrick, I would probably have gone, okay, you just finish, you finish ahead of me on the race, because it's obviously run to the line as well, and you've got quite a distance to sort of back off and let Tom have the position. Just personally.
Yeah, there is that, but this is the other side of it. So we've got, as you can see here, guys, we've got two people in the same class trying to fight for the last lap.
Yeah,
effort to get that position there. So there is a bump there where it bumps out.
I'll be interested where being on board with Tom where he breaks.
We can see where they break here. So they're both on the same sort of line. That is never going to work around this corner, going that tight on this corner. No. Not at all. You're always gonna, because I mean, you look here how tight it went, and look how the cars are flowing out. Now the problem that Tom has is that because he got bumped out right away, you naturally slide out on that last corner, and this rumble strip is what saves you careering into the line. And where the bump took place is literally as you're turning into that corner, so you can see him getting slightly out. I think, exactly that. I think the sporting thing to do would have been probably to give the position back to him, but it's racing. It's had a penalty.
So I'm just reading through it. Well, I'd say for a start-off, it doesn't cause excessive damage to loss of position or time, or changes line in an aggressive manner. So that puts it either nothing or a stage one.
Yeah, that's where I'm at for. That's where I'm at for it.
Personally, because you had the opportunity to give it back and didn't, which I understand why you didn't, I would go stage one, because it just almost. Because it's the first round and we're going, right, we don't want any more of this year. We don't want to see people bumping people out. Thing is, Andrew, we can't sit there and remember that Patrick's done this once, and not on purpose, Patrick. Please take that into my mind. Even if it's an early break block, which has just been mentioned, the thing is, Tom is early on the inside. He's wanting to keep his speed as low as possible to get through the corner. Because if he goes in like you would do off the racing line, he's never going to make it around the corner. So Tom is automatically thinking, right, I'm defending my line. I have to go slower through the corner to stop any cutback.
I mean, that is completely acceptable, by the way, guys, because these two are both pro-ams. So it's not like it's a case of it's a pro and an am.
Yeah, it's not people being silly.
it's the two of the same classes, so therefore.
Oh no, Patrick! I don't think it's an intent. It's just one of them where there's a bit of a mistake.
It's not.
It's
None of these are
somebody a
intent. I don't
position.
think. If these are any guys, I'd just like to say, if we think that any of these are malicious or
You won't be here.
intentional, you won't be in this series. You know, we're not going to condone anybody doing something for an intentional.
I honestly think
these are racing incidents, and we wholeheartedly agree that that's what they are.
Yeah.
I
Personally,
understand
with
this is
this
a
one,
lap.
I get it's the last lap. I guess Patrick's got to go for it, but in the end, it's a misjudgment. Like, he could go for that, no problem. But Tom has defended, and there is literally maybe just a car's width, maybe nothing else. I just think it's not.
It's a stage.
The only thing it's cost is Tom. It's cost Tom points, and that's the point. You know, if it hadn't cost Tom points, and it being between two different classes, we could say naughty boy. You know, but it's actually cost Tom something.
Yeah. No, I agree there. You know, if you had just obviously for future, Patrick, I understand why you did it. You know, it's the last lap. You want to make that move, but the move wasn't there to be made. And unfortunately, because you hit the back of Tom here, he's pushed him out to the left, and you need to be on the inside of this corner to speed. And that's how you were able to get past him and power past him, because Tom was pushed out to the side. So. And if you would give it him back, if you would give it him back,
it would have been done.
It would have been done. You realised you did that, but because you took the points as well, I think it is a stage one, mate. I think, and I think that
in terms of Andrew's point about Andrew Broom saying, "Can you swap positions around?" It's not in the rules for us to do that. No. And also, we could swap them round, and then it invites somebody to take the risk that could happen again, and we miss it, or it's not. Because we don't go through races; we just go off what people appeal. Now, sometimes it can be, I can't be asked to appeal it.
Yeah.
And if somebody can't be asked to appeal it, and somebody gets away with it, that's where people start going, "Oh well, he didn't get away with it, or he did." So it's setting the line straight away that if you do that and don't give the position back. I mean, this doesn't have to be of our last lap. If this was 3 laps from the end, or halfway through the race, or even lap 1, and you lifted off and gave it back, discussion over.
Yeah, because you've given back the advantage that Tom, or the disadvantage that Tom has taken away. He's not got any damage on his car. It was a slight bump. And basically, I completely agree with that. Right, okay, we're going on to the last one now, and it is going to be Kevin Copeland with Dean Tins. So
I think Kev's in the chat. I think he's been waiting all night.
Just for ages all night. He has any blessing.
I think we should go for a commercial break now.
Right, where's Kev? Where is Kev?
Patrick, we can't take into account filthy comments that are put in the Discord or anything like that. We're being impartial with the incident itself.
That is a separate thing. There's a separate thing in the rules for that.
Yeah.
And I believe
I will read it out when I find it.
That basically, if you have stuff like that of people abusing people, other drivers, then send them into one of the admins, either myself or Tom, and that will be dealt with. So that's not part of the incidents. They are separate outside of incidents that will be dealt with and will be obviously.
Just to be clear, it's 6.3.9 in the rules, just above appeals system. Voice and text abuse sent from drivers will yield a stage 3 penalty. This can take the form of the following: racism, harassment, personal insults, improper language, and or anything else the admin deems to be unacceptable. If persists, you'll be removed from the league. So if you have something that you think is really, really, really bad, and I take into mind people's frustration at that moment in time. Like if you I don't mean take it into account and don't appeal it, but just remember the heat of the moment as well.
There is, but there's
no
room. There's no room for any of that. Incidents do happen. People do get hot-headed, but don't go on to voice chat and vent your anger. Vent it offline and then protest the proper way. Don't abuse people at all on the voice chat, because you're lying. You're liable for a penalty. And if you're persistent at it, obviously getting removed from the league.
Yeah.
But anyway,
to
that's the sound.
To be very
If
clear,
you do,
with
that's
what,
what
yeah, just to be very clear on what I'm
Turn
saying is,
7.
if somebody messaged you and goes, "Oh, for God's sake, why have you done that?" That's not being abusive. You know, we're on about proper abusive comments.
Which, if it is, then send it in, or if anybody else has got that and feels, it's if you feel that you've been.
Wine.
I know that's turn 7 does not break. Rams me into.
I think you
teammate
may
and
have
I'll
just
track him
missed
to the
it.
wall. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, it is. Let's have a look.
Kev says he's tired.
Sorry, mate. We got to the end.
Just to throw my point in there straight away, we're looking. I mean, it's high speed, but we're again looking at somebody who has moved just before the breaking point. Not maliciously, but coming across that little bit as just. Oh, Kev says it's not this corner, apparently.
It's not 7.
Unless the next corner is 7.
Okay.
Yeah, this could be it. This could be it.
Oh,
there we
fuck.
go. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Kev. We got you. I was going to say, if it was that one, you've slightly come across on the braking, which has caused that bit. But then you're the driver who's lost out, not somebody else. Yeah. I've got my opinion on that. You won't see. I was going to say you won't see it. See it on Scenic Cam. So that must be get. I will be honest. There's no braking there. It does not look to be any loss of speed before the contact. Just going off the rev lights. Breathe in.
That's fair enough. Right. I am going to say I'm going to have to take this one offline because this is a minimum of a stage 3, guys, and problem is this intentional? Is the question that I'm asking myself now. If I look at I'm going to look back at the internet, and this is for everybody to have a look at as well. And I will say in the chat that people need to watch this one because this, Kev, give me a hard one right at the end. Right. Okay.
The good thing is it's not a hard one. It's damn
not
clear.
So now these guys are fighting out on track. You can see coming in here. Both in the same class, I think they are, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Pro-Am. Oops, sorry, wrong way.
Yeah.
So both in the same class, so there's don't need to give any quarter. So coming down here into the corner, it's fair enough. Okay, coming into the corner, which is probably the line anyway, gives a little tap, but that's fine. No retaliation there. Moves out, goes 3 wide, little bit of bump, door banging, and not bother, and then basically hit into the back of him with no recourse of braking.
I don't think there's any brake lights at all. Go on close, chase. If you just go on chase view rather than far chase. So
You can see his lights there. See his bright
yeah.
lights. That's a fair move, I feel.
Yeah, it was almost an avoidance move. Because you had to avoid I think that's Lydia on the inside.
Yeah, it is, yeah. There was space there to make that opportunity.
Look, Michael, you're on the telly.
The only time he breaks is after he's hitting.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, you're not going to get your answer here tonight, Kev.
Yeah, we can tell you it will be penalised in some kind of manner.
It's going to be a minimum of a stage 3. Easily.
I would say, Kev, if you're the one hit there, just for prior warning in future, I would say going into that first corner where you got a little nudge, you did move across slightly. I know it's not easy, but you did move across slightly. So if we were looking at this next corner, which we're coming up to here, there would be a comment about you move. You know, you've only moved across slightly on the brakes.
I'd probably disagree with that. He is trying to defend. He's taking the tighter line into that corner. It's not like a move was made.
No,
like excessive. Yeah. You can see it's gone out and then he's smoothly going back in. And obviously, unfortunately, Dean's hit the back of him. No retaliation there. Coming out and then obviously.
That was a good move through the middle.
That was a very good move, actually, Kev. Yeah. And then basically that was a hit, and it resulted in the 2 teammates.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't penalise Kev for that thing initially. I would just say,
no, I wouldn't.
Is it Dean? Yeah, Dean wouldn't have been able to react to that if you would put that one in as a penalty.
Yeah. What I will say, Kev, is I will chat to both yourself and Dean. Obviously, this one we'll have to take off this to just have a chat between others.
You had to make it a longer night, didn't you, Kev?
I know. I know. That was a good thread the needle. But guys, I mean, obviously there were some. I'm going to go offline.
Yeah, agreed. Bear Pope. It was. The wreck was happening, so it was a bit difficult there because that was you, Michael, was it, with lids? Yeah, it was not. It was a bit of formation spinning, but how everybody avoided you both, I'm not quite sure. So
if you can tell me what lap it was, then we can sort of show it.
It's this.
But there was some.
It was this incident. It was just in front of Kev.
Oh, this one. Oh,
yeah, if you wind back.
Oh, where? Oh, yes, I did see that actually. Let's have a look. So it's so
in front you've got Lydia.
Michael's
Michael's up the inside there.
I want to be on board with Kev. Oh, I've done it again. Stupid thing. I want to see on board with Kev when he does that flying moves. So that was quite impressive, Kev.
You've just gone past him. He's just below Thomas Cope. Stop. 168. Bit lower. Just below Dean Powell. There you
go. What lap was it?
Yeah, it's amazing what you learn, Bear Pope, in this. It is amazing what you suddenly learn when you watch incidents. And watching incidents like this is literally what makes me, when I go go-karting, anticipate a lot in front of me.
All right, I'm just going to watch on board with so this is a good example. This is fair racing in my eyes. Yeah, you will get a bit of door banging, but it's give and take. Both of them. Great move there. Come up there, and did exceptionally well. And
please tell me, Kev, that you literally breathed in when you went through that.
I bet he did. Right, so let's have a look at Lydia.
It's just in front.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Michael's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Here we go. So Michael. Yeah, that's fine. Oh,
it's a bit of squeezing. I think if you would say there, it's a carbon copy. If you remember that first incident, so
yeah,
and this is obviously for both Lydia and
that's fine, Michael.
For everyone, really, it's fine. You know, you're looking around here. There's room for the inside move, and then the room gets closed off. Yeah. You see this a lot in iRacing.
And also, if that was in real life, because you were quite far alongside, you'd probably just rub doors and get away with it. But because it's iRacing,
it makes you spin around the world, I suppose.
Yeah, and fair play with you, because you'd be annoyed at this point trying to rejoin and the whole field's coming past, and you've just sat there, which is a great thing to do.
Yeah.
When you're not 100% sure.
So, I mean, guys, the reason why we're doing this is it is a bit of a long-winded. I didn't think it was going to take this long, but this is how long it can take to do a lot of the penalties. We've had 12, I think, to do tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
5, 6, 7,
the
8,
other thing
9,
is
10, 11.
it took us a while, but this is the first night, so we now have a standard.
Yeah, we do.
We now have a standard, so when we see things in the future, we can be a lot clearer and quicker with things and go, bang, yeah, we know about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all about just showing you give you an insight into our methodology of why we're doing it. I think what the problem is on a few of the other leagues, and I understand why they don't. It is time consuming to do this, but I felt that it was a big part of when people are racing in the league that they understand how the guys are
just
doing.
See what's coming up.
Woo! Understand basically how we're looking at the penalties, explaining how we've done the penalties, and hopefully not only does it put clarity between the two people involved, but it can give a good insight to the rest of the field on how to do stuff. But hopefully it was informative, guys. It seems like we've had good interaction, and that's what we want in these events. It isn't the best of things. I don't particularly enjoy doing incidences. They are not my favourite, certainly with the controversy it can cause.
Yeah, the other thing I'd say is when we're doing these podcasts, if for example, we shouldn't have if you've got something you just like an opinion on, you're not trying to protest, you can always let us know what it is, because if we haven't got many incidents to go through, we can try and go through it. But obviously on a 100%. Night like this, we probably need to go through the incidents first, and then we might not be able to have time to go through it.
Definitely, guys. Definitely. Well, I mean, it's like I said, guys, this is the way that we're going to do it. There is a new format, so hopefully you've all had a look at. I'm going to close this down because I think that's what's making my camera go like super slow.
That's fine. In terms of the new format, because you've all got rules to read through in the Discord to read through, but to be completely clear, you'll get an hour's practice and a 10-minute qualifying in a separate lobby, and then all the drivers will have half an hour to move into another lobby once it's been gridded up, basically, and that's where the race will be.
Yeah. So, and then the grid will be based on the qualifying that you've just finished in, and then the grid will be set into class where you finished in that qualifying. If you didn't qualify, then basically you will just be put in the order that it comes up on the qualifying screen. So
if you're a pro driver and 14 drivers qualify and you decide not to set a time, then you'd be 15th on the grid of the pro class. We won't stick you at the top.
So we stopped what happened, the incident we watched with Scott, where it was a bit of indecisiveness when on a rookie. You shouldn't get that. You will get that if maybe on the hour race and certainly on the 2-hour races in Format C, guys. So just be aware of that. I mean, that was a classic example watching Matty coming up behind Matthew there with a little bit of indecision from the rookie in front, which caused a little bit of chaos. So just bear that in mind, guys. But yeah, Dave, I think overall it's been a success, mate. And I really appreciate it. Yeah.
I'd say round one's been a great success. This podcast has been a great success. Enough people popping in, discussing the incidents, discussing the watching the stream in general. So, let us know what you think about this kind of podcast idea. If you've got some ideas we can add into it, because obviously we would have to take a few things out, because we'd be here all night if we didn't. But hopefully we'll be able to do a quick review of the race like we've done, an interview, or maybe even 2 interviews, depending who we can get in. And then obviously, depending on how many incidents we got, we can go through them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we want to try to get is one of you drivers certainly in every week. So if you do want to be a part, like Halcon was at the start, and just obviously put in the Discord, let me know, and we'll get you in, and we can have a chat to you and find out how it's going with you and your team, and just have a general chat. So, guys, I think we've been on for quite some time now. So
2 hours 24.
Blimey. Nearly as long as the race. I think it's probably longer than the race now.
Yeah.
But no, Guys, thank you very much for joining us here tonight for Performance Link Pit Stop. Just give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't done already. And then, we'll probably see you in the Discord. Or obviously, if you're watching this out from an outside, then come and have a look at us in the Performance Link Discord channel. And if there's any spots, you might be able to get onto the grid. Obviously, there's not at the moment, but you can obviously put yourself in line for possibly season 2 if it happens. But thank you from myself, and thanks from you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So until Sunday. So the race is at 2000 hours BST. We are at Sebring for an hour-long race. So join us then, guys. Thanks. Goodbye.